We all want more motivation at times, and sometimes when it just fades away randomly, we try to bring that spark back to life, to really grip that motivation again and feel like we're enjoying the process. But it never arrives. Eventually, we just decide to give up, and we try something new that really motivates us again and gets us ready to crush those new goals. So the question came into my head, is motivation actually real, or is it just a myth we use to try to make us work? Motivational speeches, talks, podcasts, YouTube videos and more have helped me internalise the notion that motivation is what drives us to become the best version of ourselves. And this is what we need to become more like the successful. But how true does this really hold up in reality? What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy and I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come and hang out with me and all of these wonderful people. If you're new to the channel, this channel is dedicated to helping you become the best version of yourself. We are dedicated to doing just that and trying to improve our lives in every way that we possibly can. If you would like a free ebook and audiobook with Your Mindset Stops Your Success, you can click the link down in the description right now. You'll also get weekly emails with motivation, tips to push forward and actionable steps that you can take with every single email to really develop yourself and your business further forward. I would love for you to be a part of that family. There are plenty of times I've had motivation in my life. That jolt of energy 10 minutes to go in your game that's led you to actually winning, or you're putting more effort into that essay, just a little bit more to get those extra marks and feeling that motivation rise up in you to actually get it. When you really look at that, what is it? It's discipline. How did you manage to keep going even when you were tired? You put in the work in training before and worked on your stamina to be able to actually do that. Did we manage to get the A in the essay? We put in the work by reading journals, articles and learning how to make an essay flow and structure well. We put in the work, oftentimes when you didn't feel like it, to reap the rewards for the future. We looked at long-term gratification without even realising it. Let's be honest, did you really enjoy putting in that work when it's completely pouring, it's windy and it just isn't that great of a training session? Probably not. Did you really enjoy doing that essay, which the topic was horrendous, it did not interest you at all, but you still put in the work? No, but that's the thing. You push through. That isn't motivation that's pushing you through. That's discipline to do the job that needs to be done. And something we need to look at more. Motivation is something we fantasize about, doing things that only make us happy, but this is just not reality. Anything you do in life will have bumps in the road. It is what keeps you going when those bumps occur that actually matter for your long-term results. Why do we place such a high status on being motivated? Well, that can come down to a few things. This can be a lot of past experiences, this could be the talks like we talked about before, and probably a lot of other things that accumulate to make what we believe motivation to be. This is the time we're going to chuck that out the window, because it's action that leads to motivation, not the other way around. We're always waiting for motivation to sort of come along and just take over. I will do it later, or I will start on Monday, are both falsified ways of believing that motivation is going to come at that time for you to start whatever you're trying to do. When in reality, that doesn't happen that much, and motivation is going to come from your action of actually doing the job and seeing the results and the progress that you're making within yourself. You need to find ways to align the person you want to become and the values that you hold to bring those people together and actually become the person you want to become, rather than always waiting for something that might never arrive. Everyone has dreams, the person they want to become, the projects they want to work on, and more. When it comes to work, we need to figure out who that person is, why we want to become that person, and then set up actionable work that we can take daily on the journey to becoming said person. Ask yourself, if there were no limitations, who would you want to become? And I know for a fact that as soon as I said that, a lot of you put up barriers of what those limitations hold. You already have those limitations in your mind, because when I ask you if there were none, those limitations already existed. I'm telling you that they don't need to exist, and they don't need to be there. Because think of the number of things that we have accomplished in our lives, not only with ourselves personally, but the human race, about not believing we could go to space, not believing we could go to the moon, not believe we could go to the depths of the ocean. They're all things that people perceive that we could not do. Limitations we made ourselves without actually trying it to the extent of succeeding. And turns out all of those are true and can be done. We just had those limitations beforehand. One of the best lessons you can take from this video, if you take any today, is that those barriers you put up don't need to exist if you don't allow them to. I mean, if you want to become a seahorse or something like that, I can't help too much there, but for most of the things that you actually want to achieve in your life, it is possible if you're able to realize that those barriers are what you have put up in your own mind, not something that makes it improbable to do. Limitations stop so many of us from moving in any new direction because it's scary, exciting, terrifying, nerve-wracking, and everything else. And we end up just doing nothing about it. But when you realize that any person that you can be or want to become without those limitations is possible, it is just that. Working towards that person daily, which will eventually lead you to that place. The problem that so many of us face is that we are staring at the top of that mountain and think, that is too far away, I cannot achieve that. And it's not about achieving it in one day, because often the best lessons that come along are the ones that you take when you're going up that mountain. Yes, you're probably going to fall down at some points. There's going to be things that will stop in your tracks. And that's the way that's challenging your new identity, who you're becoming, the person you're trying to be. It's not motivation that's driving that. It's your discipline to wanting to become the person who reaches that top of the mountain, and not letting anything that tries to push you back down stop you from doing so. Next, it's about writing down the different areas of the person you want to become. By this, I mean things like family, relationships, business work, finances, anything that you actually want to be, the person you want to become, not just as a whole, but in individual areas that make you the most passionate for. We're going to cover visualization and affirmations in future videos. So if you are enjoying these sorts of videos and this sort of stuff, be sure to hit the subscribe button because they will be coming out in the near future. When you have these answers written down of the person you want to become, this is when we can start to work backwards and actually connect the dots from your overall goal that you'd want to achieve to your 5-year goal, to your 1 year, to your 3 month, to your month, week, and daily goal, which is connecting those dots backwards to help you eventually start taking those steps up the mountain and to actually get there. The reason that we have these past experiences and understand what we're doing in the past which stop us is because those dots are already connected. We already know what these past experiences have held. And because we're looking into the future, we don't really clearly see where these dots are going to mesh up. This is where we can make it as accurate as possible and as easy for our mind to understand, because our brain always wants to make an answer that keeps us at ease. And not knowing how to get to the top of the mountain and not having a clue anywhere what that mountain holds apart from you being at the bottom and looking at the top is of course going to stop you from ever trying to even take a step in the right direction. There's of course going to be some things you can't predict. That's just the way it is. And you're more likely going to change as you go along this journey. That's the thing. Going up a mountain doesn't just have one path all the time. I mean, some of the dangerous ones probably do, but you get me. There's different paths to go on our hypothetical mountain. There's a lot of things that you can do to get to the top. People are going to take different routes from you. Some are going to be easier, some are going to be harder, but everyone is going to be on that same journey to get to the person they truly want to become when they choose to take that first step. That's the step you need to take. Once you've completed all this, and you've started to connect the dots about who you want to become and the daily actions that you can take to get to that someday goal, you have one final thing to do. Taking action is challenging, but when you have tasks laid out in front of you, step by step, it doesn't seem so daunting anymore. Becoming the best version of yourself starts with you first believing that it's possible and not allowing those limitations to stop you from succeeding. When you have everything written down and you've completed that and you understand the steps that you're now needing to take, the only thing to do is to take action. Action leads to motivation, which leads to discipline, which leads to more motivation, which leads to you becoming that person. There are plenty of things that can help push you forward, even the times where you don't really feel like it. Rewarding yourself for some of the small wins that you get, analysing everything that you're doing so that when you actually achieve something, you're seeing all the results that you're getting. And even getting an accountability partner to hold you accountable for what you're doing and actually make you want to push forward because you don't want to let that person down. Motivation is merely short bursts of energy that consistently need to be tailored to when lost. Discipline only needs to understand that you're working to this higher goal, that it knows it's possible and is trying to connect the dots in the best way it can. It doesn't need this form of motivation to try to push you forward because it knows that goal is there to be reached and that you can actually do it. Stop allowing limitations to hold you back. Stop putting motivation on this high horse like it's the only thing that you can do to actually work hard in your life. Because motivation comes over time, but it's not something you'll always have, and you can never call upon it just exactly when you need it. If you got to the end and are doing what you're doing right now, and you saw the person you could become and the person you have become because you decided to not take action, how would you feel about yourself? How would you feel about the life that you've lived, the decisions that you've chosen to do? Go to that end and see that person and know it was the best person you could have possibly been. That's the person you want to become. I want to take a second to thank all of the patrons who support and help this channel be what it is today. I really appreciate all your support. And if you'd like to check out this next video, it's on the screen right now. I would love for you to watch it, and I know you're going to enjoy it and love it as well. Have a fantastic day.